Welcome to Mission Innovation powered by AWS. I'm Renzo Rodriguez, Managing Director of U.S. Federal Technology and Innovation at AWS. In this inaugural episode, we're diving into a critical cybersecurity topic, building zero trust architectures. In today's digital landscape, federal agencies face unprecedented challenges in securing their complex IT infrastructure. Traditional security models are no longer sufficient, which is why federal departments like the DoD and CISA have mandated zero trust architectures across the various branches and agencies. But what is zero trust and how can it be effectively implemented? Today, we'll explore these questions with insights from a DoD cybersecurity official, sharing lessons learned and successes in implementing zero trust. Now, whether you're a DoD official, a cybersecurity professional, or simply curious about how cloud technology enhances national security, this episode has something for you. Now, let's go discover how AWS is making zero trust a reality for the U.S. Department of Defense. It's time to learn and be curious. Let's get started.
I'm pleased to welcome Les Call, Director of the DoD CIO Zero Trust Portfolio Management Office. Les, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. So before we dive into the lessons learned and the success of implementing zero trust in the DoD, can you tell us a little bit about your role specifically within the Department of Defense, specifically with the Zero Trust Initiative?
Yeah, absolutely. If I could provide just a little context first as to why I'm in this role and why we're working this relationship with AWS, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you could think for a second, you wake up tomorrow morning, wake up to go to work, you oversleep, you realize that the power's out, you realize that you pick up your phone doesn't work, the internet doesn't work, you're trying to figure out what's going on, you turn on your shower, and you find you can't, it just smells like chlorine, you can't drink it,
right?
And you're sitting there wondering what the heck happened and what can you do? Yeah. And that's the reality that many of us can face. When you look at the IC community, the FBI, the Department of Energy, all of them through CISA have put out a statement that says, look, the adversary is in our critical infrastructure, waiting for the moment where the mothership, so to speak, says it's time, and then they're going to act.
Right.
And it's important that we have the security necessary to find them, remove them, and secure our networks. And up till now, it's been mainly defense in depth. Yep. Add another firewall, and that doesn't work. So now we're accepting the fact that, yes, they are in our network. We can't stop them. But we want to identify them before they're able to move laterally, and we want to limit the attack space that they can get after. So with that, I've been assigned, I'm the director for the Zero Trust Portfolio Management Office. I have a boss, Randy Resnick, who is the chief for Zero Trust. He came on to Zero Trust and created the strategy and the roadmap.
Right.
Well, once they had those two things, they had the blueprint, and they're like, okay, we need to bring somebody in that's going to take us from where we are now. What I like to say, take the immovable object, being the Department of Defense, and we're going to reach the impossible goal, because a lot of people think they know what zero trust is, and most people don't really, right?
Yep.
And so they brought me in. So we've taken and built a team. I like to call it the Zero Trust train. Yeah. It's an express train, and we've got laid down track, and we're moving. We got our people on there. We're loading up what I call the 43 components that make up the DoD, and we're rolling down this track, and we're going to make it to zero trust target by the end of FY27.
And with your team, how are you addressing the need and the requirements for the zero trust strategy and the reference architecture requirements while maintaining operational efficiency across the board?
Yeah, that's absolutely a difficult question, right? But in order to do that, we need to apply what we call proof of concepts. Mm-hmm. And in this year, FY24, I call the year of the proof of concept, or the year of the pilot. And we've been working a lot. AWS has been a fabulous partner with this. I like to think that we both are focused on the same thing. With AWS, it's never been about profit. It's always been about, the boots on the ground, the people who are defending our country. How can we supply technology to them that we need? So we've been working on this, and we're in the process of working 18 separate proof of concepts. And over the next year, we plan to assess each of those, and quite a few of those are in partnership with AWS.
Nice. Appreciate that. Now, I'm thinking in the future, right? If we're looking around corners, in 2027, we have a milestone that has to be reached. What are we doing in regards to facing those challenges that the DoD is facing to implement the zero trust architecture? It sounds like you're doing proof of concepts, but what's next after that?
After that, it's collaboration. I like to tell people that the government-owned solutions, what we call GOTS, they don't cut it. They don't work anymore. So we've gone to the commercial world. And in fact, Honorable Sherman 2 years ago went down to Silicon Valley and met with many of the key CEOs, key leaders, and said, look, we need the F-35. We can't build the F-35 anymore.
Right.
Bring us an F-14, bring us an F-16, bring us an F-35. That's what we need. And that's how we're going to be able to accelerate the movement of zero trust, is by partnerships like what we have with AWS and being able to take these proof of concepts and then slap them down and give them to the services to use.
And I think about DoD's IT infrastructure, right? It's the scale and complexity of it all. How is that impacting your zero trust strategy moving forward?
Yeah, it's a tough nut to crack because it is so large and so vast. If you think about the services by themselves, make up 2 million people, 750,000 civilians work for the DoD, 43 different components that make it up. We're talking about 5,000 facilities across the world.
Right.
That's complex.
Absolutely.
But with the help of AWS and others, with those proof of concepts that I was talking about, and with some other things that I'm happy to talk about, we're able to bring those together and then accelerate the movement towards zero trust.
So those additional components, can you talk about that briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. One of those is interoperability. It's important. So one of the things that we learned was we were going through doing assessments and reviewing over the last 2 years is that we can allow people to create their own runway, to build their own roadmap, to follow their own path. But there's one problem with that. We've provided a recipe, like we said, with the strategy and the roadmap. Now, the Army's out there making chocolate chip cookies.
Right.
The Air Force is making cake, right? The Navy's making donuts. And the Marines, they've got Boston cream pie out there, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got something a little different, but they had the same recipe.
Right.
So how do we bring all those together, right? And that has to be a focus. And that starts with identity and working on that. That starts with federation, getting those pieces to talk together, which is something that's never been done. Just trying to get the Army to talk to themselves, because they are so vast and disparate, is difficult. But we're going to bring everybody together.
And are they open to the interoperability, working together, everything else? Are they good to go? Is that something that still needs to be worked out?
It's funny you say that, right? Because every day I walk into my office and there's a sign up there that says, go Army, beat Navy. And then it says Air Force who under that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the competitiveness that is with them.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we had a meeting this morning with 2 services. One we have completed an assessment of. The other one we're going through the process of an assessment. And they're very different.
Right.
And so there had to be some deconfliction there to get them onto the same page, because this goes back to what I was saying before about how everybody's configuration is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yet they still have to talk together. I walked by a soldier's desk the other day. He had 2 computers sitting there, both the same.
Right.
And I said, what's the deal with this? He goes, well, this one I talked to the Army with, this one I talked to the Air Force with. And that's because of the Zero Trust Network access. He said, I have a widget on here, an application that allows me to talk to the Army.
Yep.
And then I have one on this one that allows me to talk to the Air Force. If I put both of those on the same computer, nothing works. So we're getting after that, and we're also working on creating a community of interest where we're bringing in government. We've invited the DoD. We've got NASA representatives. We've got representatives from several federal organizations, and then we brought representatives in from commercial vendors, Cisco and others, AWS, and working together to tackle this, because this is really a community problem.
So in regards to bringing in other individuals like AWS, Cisco, and others, it really highlights the fact that you have a focus on strong collaboration, both you and Randy, right? And I really want to thank you for that. You're committed to the industry from that perspective. As a matter of fact, you actually mentioned it previously that you're working with us to actually do proof of concepts in regards to zero trust with your plan moving forward, which I think is phenomenal. And that's great work that we're doing together. So thanks again for that opportunity. But I'm really thinking as we move forward, what key areas should we prioritize as we step into building solutions that meet those advanced zero trust activities?
It's been a pleasure working with AWS, and that is one of the key things that I like about AWS, particularly as a cloud service provider, compared to the others that we work with, is that you're not trying to solve all the problems yourself, right? You're bringing in those key partners that are best in breed out in the industry, and you're looping those in. And I think that makes AWS better. And if there wasn't a solution for that particular part, then AWS had a plan on how they were going to create it. And they would, but only if they couldn't find the others. It's special. It's special. And we're looking forward to it in the future. We still have operational technology we have to capture. We have MPE, the mission partner environment we really have to get after. And I have a lot of ideas, several of them that include some of your products that I believe we can really get after and progress and make it such a simple solution. What right now people are really making complicated.
I will say, like you said, one of the best things about AWS is our strong partner ecosystem. We're always working with partners to make sure we're meeting the needs of our customers, especially in regards to their mission programs. Speaking of marketing and the market material that you're seeing out there in regards to vendors having zero trust solutions, there's a lot of noise out there. I want to get your perspective on how you're recommending the department specifically how to sort through the noise, and what advice do you have for the department on how to navigate the growing number of vendors that claim they deliver zero trust capability?
It has become a definite problem. Yeah. And a matter of fact, the first week that I was in the office, when I took a look at Randy's calendar, it was full of vendors that were briefing him on their special product. And that was the first thing I said that had to stop, right? Yeah. Cleaned off his calendar. We created a spreadsheet. And anytime somebody came to us, AWS came to us, and we're saying, okay, we handed you this and said, how do you meet these 152 activities? Go, figure that out, and then come back. And you came back meeting that with partners.
Yep.
And most of them can't do that. So that's the first thing that we have to do. And then the second thing we have to do is take a step back and really look hard at use cases. If we focus on use cases and then look for the technology that fits those use cases that are broadly used, then we can really cut through all that noise.
Perfect. So I'm going to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
And for the last year and a half, I haven't been able to have a technical conversation with a customer, partner, or family, for that matter, friends, without bringing up the topic of generative AI, right? So Gen AI. So from your perspective, when you think about zero trust and your zero trust strategy as it's going to evolve over time, how do you see generative AI impacting the future of zero trust?
There's good and there's bad. First, I'll talk about the bad, right? Right now, the adversary is using AI for what you're familiar with 0 day. Mm-hmm. And now we also talk about the end day, which once we've discovered what that vulnerability is, from the time we discover it to the time that it's patched, that's your end day. And the adversary is taking that data and then they're creating exploits to go after it in that period of time utilizing AI. And so what we need to do is we need to take what is traditionally reactive and we need to make that proactive. And that's what I'm hoping that AI will start to do. Yep. And by creating modeling, it's going to be like a game of whack-a-mole, where as soon as they pop up, we get them, or we're anticipating where they're going to be.
So it's really more of a predictive kind of scenario.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Anticipation.
Les, I really want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. And I look forward to our continued partnership and being able to co-build a future we can be proud of. Thank you, Les.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
If you like this video and want to dive deeper, check out this other video we have where we go over our Zero Trust Enterprise Accelerator.